Hello ladies and gentlemen, Keaton here, and it is time to look back at everything we released here on the channel this week. It is the Tengu Drop Recap for the week of February 15th, 2015. Okay, so let's get started with Monday. On Monday, Joe took a look at two new guns in Cosmocoria, the Plasma Shot and the Homing Blaster. So, if you've been keeping up with the Cosmocoria videos, as Joe has been putting out pretty recently, there are two new weapons for you to enjoy at his pro strat leisure. You know, because Joe is pretty good at the game. Even the dev says so. You know, at this point, Joe is like ace Cosmocoria player, so you know, MLG Cosmocoria up in here. Yeah, Tengu Drop strats, yo. Anyway, on Tuesday, I looked at Castle in the Darkness. Very difficult, very old school. Might have lost my cool a little there at some point, but fun fact about recording Castle in the Darkness, by the way, I mentioned it a little bit in the video itself, where I talked about how my recording kept stopping every time I died. Fun fact, at the end of that recording session, I had over 75 video clips of every single time I transitioned through a level in that game. I had a new clip, so it wasn't just 20 clips of the game, it was 75. I was consumed with the darkness of Castle in the Darkness from start to finish, so that was a lovely experience. So please, if you haven't watched that video, don't let my pain go in vain. Please. Please. Moving on to Wednesday. On Wednesday, Joe did more Standpoint. He did a little different video this week. Kept it nice and short and sweet. He did Denial Part 5. I don't know if that's the name of the level or not. Again, Standpoint is another game that I'm really interested in playing myself, so I'm not necessarily watching too much of it. But these couple of videos that Joe put out for Wednesday, he plays the first level the way it's supposed to be played, and then he shows you how to get the achievement for that level, which is beating the level in under 45 seconds. So you get the normal strat, and once again Joe displaying his MLG Tengu Drop caliber strats with I don't know, S tier rank. Let's just call it S tier rank. Yeah, so there we go. Standpoint on Wednesday, Joe's videos, check them out. On Wednesday, we also did more Fight the Dragon. Now, it's been a while. I think this is the first time we actually played the game since it went to full release. And boy, did we start with one hell of a map. It was a map on the most difficult of settings. We almost died many a time. It was quite the ordeal, but we were rewarded handsomely. And I gotta say, that was quite a great way to come back to Fight the Dragon. It was challenging, it was rewarding, and Joe and I really had to rely on each other to really get through that map, so it was a really great experience. Moving on to Thursday. On Thursday, as always, it was Nuclear Throne one-shot day, and this week, mixed it up a bit. Instead of doing the normal run-through that I usually do every week, instead this week I released a video that I actually recorded while capturing for the Nuclear Throne update, which was update number 62. I thought it was a pretty fun run. Nothing spectacular happens, but it beat the one-shot run that I actually did record, so I released that instead. Anyway, on Thursday I also took a look at Sorcerer King, the Beta 4 update, and I pretty much spent almost an hour, I cut it down a bit, of me just talking about Sorcerer King, talking about the changes and the things that I do and do not like about the changes. I went back and compared it to my original video, and at least I know what I'm talking about this time, so I'm not fumbling around the menus and whatnot. I have a better idea of what Sorcerer King brings to the table. So if you felt that the first video wasn't informative enough, good news, I pretty much talk about Sorcerer King for 50 minutes. And it's pretty much all Sorcerer King the entire way through, so sit back with some popcorn and enjoy, please. Now on Friday, we once again mixed it up, which seems to be a theme this week. And instead of releasing a multiplayer video, Joe and I both released videos for new releases this week. First up was Joe and the full release of the Escapists, finally. He's been covering it for about was it like 6 months at this point? I mean, he was on it since it dropped on early access, so he's been at it for quite a while, and he finally takes a look at the full release, and apparently the hardest prison ever seems pretty fitting that they would save the most difficult prison for last. So the Escapists full release for the first video that we released on Friday. The second release was somewhat maybe something in the same sort of theme there of trying to escape violence. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Lucius 2, I took a look at Lucius 2, The Prophecy, a very bloody, violent game. This is the follow-up to, obviously, the first Lucius, which I actually liked. It had its problems, but I felt that it had a lot of potential. And with Lucius 2, they addressed a lot of the more major glaring issues or critiques that people had for the first game. But as I found out while I played it, the new freedom that they give you sort of runs into other general design issues that the game suffers from because it is open world now. Unfortunately, there were some areas where the developers sort of dropped the ball a bit. Nonetheless, Lucius 2 shows a lot of promise. I did originally want to do it as a full series for the channel, but after playing through the first, I don't even know how long I went through, how far I am in the game, but from what I experienced in the initial first impressions, it probably wouldn't make a very entertaining series because I like to explore, I like to experiment, and that doesn't necessarily make for very entertaining footage. However, what I will be doing is whenever I do find the time to go and play more of Lucius 2, I will record every session, and I will highlight any fun and interesting things that happen and post them to YouTube. So that is something to look forward to in the future. Moving on to Saturday. On Saturday, Joe and I returned to McDroid, a game that is very fun but very stressful. And this video in particular sort of sums it up pretty well, why it can be a very frustrating game, but at the same time, it also highlights our resolve as persistent gamers who never give up. We were not willing to let the game beat us, and damn it, we found a way to make sure the game did not beat us. Kind of a spoiler, but it's much more rewarding if you take in the entire experience than just jump to the end. But nonetheless, McDroid for Saturday's video. And that's about the week in Tengu Drop videos. Once again, if you missed anything that we released this week, you can find links to all of those videos in the description so you can get caught up and get hyped for next week's videos. Can't promise any new releases in the upcoming week. We have some things planned, but we can never tell. So maybe not. Just, you know, don't hold your breath. Yeah. Also, next week, Sunday, will be the second episode of the Drop Pod. Hopefully, Joe will be able to join me, and we shall talk video games again for the Drop Pod. So, again, there are things to look forward to, so definitely get caught up if you haven't already. Everything, you know, again, can be found in the description. And as always, thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has liked, shared, and commented on our videos. We always appreciate your support. And until next week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys then for another Tengu Drop Recap. Bye!